Pose, 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 pose.
What's going on, my story time peoples? It's Jesse as always on Jesse's Story Time Spectacular. I'm here today to bring you a wonderful review of Sinister from 2012. And no, I ain't talking about the sequel. Nah, I'm just talking about this beautifully crazy, messed up, weird, twisting movie. I feel like it's a little bit before its time on like a little bit of hereditary kind of feeling. It's just very unsettling to watch. Uh, I mean, obviously, so basically, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but let me start off with Sinister was released in 2012, all right, by Blumhouse Studios. So, cha-ching, you know, all about the money, but this one was not all about the money. This one was all about the quality. So, a man is a writer and he's really pushing to find some serious new motivation because his last book was 10 years ago, but everybody still talks about it. It's like a big thing. I don't know. So he decides he's going to move his family into a house that's infamous for murder. So even the previous tenants were murdered by their father and hung in the backyard. Unsettling, yes, I know. But let me break down some quick characters here for you. The dad, who's the most important, played by Ethan Hawke. He should probably have won like an award for this movie or something. He was really, really, really good in this movie. His name was Ellison, which I know is kind of odd, but interesting name, Ellison. Kind of like an Elliot thing, I guess. All right. The mom is Tracy. All right. The daughter is Ashley. She's the one who's a little artsy. The son, Trevor, a little bit younger, not much personality yet to him, but he's cool. Whatever. Alright, so he decides he's moving his family into an infamous murder house and not telling them because he needs some inspiration from whatever the stories is about a missing persons case in the last family who died there that the cops were never able to be found or figure out or anything. They could not get to the root of it on where she disappeared to, what happened to her, anything. So, I believe that little girl's name was Stephanie. But basically, he moves them out of the house, alright, which is apparently in Pennsylvania. We don't really know where, but it's a pretty small town. And the town is kind of tainted by this murderous act that happened a few years ago. And they've been trying to forget about it and move on and stay a good town like they all have been before this happened. But listen, Ethan Hawke, whichever. I'm probably going to refer to both at the same time. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, Ellison decides he's gonna, kind of move, be the good dad, and he's moving all the stuff in for everybody. He's like, really helping everybody here. He's being the good dad, moving everything in, even putting away the old, you know, stuff into the attic, you know, which is like that probably the last thing you'd do after everything. Getting up the beds, all that, whatever. You're moving a lot in. Up there, before he can put anything into it, he sees this just simple box, and it just has a projector inside and a bunch of you know tapes in it for a projector. So obviously, he decides later to break it down and check it out and see what's on it. He's just curious, and unfortunately, it's some pretty, really disturbing stuff. Let's just say it's a word that's close to stuff, but there's an N somewhere in there. It's really messed up. But there's also just straight up murders, bizarre flashes of weird hallucinatory imagery and or disturbing imagery of like blood and random stuff like that. People being drowned or something. It's really weird. But it seems to be that he's also a true crime writer, so he's trying to get inspiration. And these tapes are like, he's just becoming fascinated with all of them, like super crazy fascinated. He wants to know all about these tapes. And he's realizing that they're all killings or horrific, terrible things that end up with killings. And they all happen at different times in different locations, but they're all connected to the same thing and the same killer. So he's trying to figure out what the heck's going on. He has this deputy who like kind of goes rogue a little bit for him to kind of help him do some searches and be like, this clerical dude with the police who like is under the sheriff's, attention, so the sheriff wouldn't be all up in his crap about it, all this stuff. But anyway, so he watches the tapes and they're pretty disturbing, but he does notice after about two or three of them that there is this demonic little symbol in these tapes, as well as a tiny, like, evil little face. And yes, it is disturbing. It looks creepy, okay? Very creepy, alright? And these are all Super 8 tapes, by the way. I guess that was the one I was looking for earlier, but alright, cool. So, the deputy's helping, and the more that the dad watches, he becomes a little bit more hallucinative, and he starts seeing things a little bit more that are real messed up, that are kind of related to his own family. but they seem to be replicated images and stuff on the tape, which is really crazy and weird and messed up. But he seeks some knowledge about it. He's like, I can't have this all just be such a mystery to me. So the deputy comes through and says, all right, look, here's everything I figured out for you, but there's one big factor that's a problem. I don't know anything about paranormal things or the unknown or, you know, deities or anything, gods, demons, whatever, but there's something weird up in here. So I've referred you to a paranormal doctor who's very, very good at the state, and I want you to give him a call. That way you guys can figure that out, right? Cool. So, calls up this Professor Jonas, who's kind of a whack job, but at the same time, he does give him a good explanation on what the heck's going on, alright? He figures out the symbol refers to a warning, alright? And usually you see the symbol first in the videos before you would see the face, okay? Which is very important. So apparently it's a warning sign of some sort. And he figures out that the face refers to an ancient Babylonian pagan deity named Agul. That's Bughuul. I know. So in case I'm pronouncing that wrong, correct me up in the comments, please. Or tell me that I'm right. Whatever. Or just leave me hate mail. Alright, so here's the skinny on this deity. Alright? That's attached to them now, he says. And it's very hard to get rid of, but what Balul is known for is the eater of children, which he says is more metaphorical than it is physical. But he says that Bagul tricks children and basically needs to eat children to survive, separates them from our physical world, and then takes them to his metaphysical world. But he has to feast on their souls over time to survive, and basically has trapped them in his own, you know, slavery thing of being undead and having to report to him and whatnot. So, back to Ellison a little bit. Obviously, he's freaked out by this info. He's bugging out. He's kind of like, all right, maybe we need to do some shit. I need to kind of figure something out, get some proof or something. But he starts seeing this deity like in real life bugging, and he's kind of creeped out, and he's like, we got to get out of here, right? So, he watches a little bit more tapes before we figure everything out. He's just kind of like, all right, we need just a night to rest. It's been a really really crazy day. I don't want to stress the family out more, so y'all are gonna chill and I'm gonna work. All right, cool. So he watches another video, and the video is like of four people being hung in the backyard, just like the previous tenants occurred. And it's literally showing you that. And he's like, what the hell? And he's seeing these hallucinations in real life about the deity. And his daughter's painting on the wall has changed. And it looks like the deity. And his daughter's a little freaked out and weirded out and looks a little freaky and for a second, and he's like, we got to get out of this house, right? So he burns the tapes and the projector in a giant barrel fire, and just they dip. Alright, so he talks to Dr. Jonas again. He finds out that Balul even pulls victims into the pictures that you see him in. Again, Balul pulls victims into the pictures that you see him in, therefore separating them from the physical world into his metaphysical world. And that's most likely what will be happening. And he hears this, but he doesn't tell the wife officially what's going on yet. But she has an idea, and she's kind of like, what the hell? I hate you and whatnot, but, she's probably still banging him, whatever. Alright. So, basically, they get a new house, they get out of there, they peace out. And as they're doing the whole new house thing, the little girl is just kind of whatever doing her thing. The mother's decorating, the dad's upstairs moving some stuff in, and he goes up to the new attic. And there's a box right there again with the tapes and the projector haunting them, so he knows Bagul is not done with them. Then later that night, it strikes, and basically there's this gigantic hallucination sort of thing going on where the deity is out and is pulling someone in, but there's always either a sacrifice made or a child is fed. But that's only the surface of what they knew. So basically, it ends up, basically, the daughter ends up killing some people, but it's also actually him, Ellison, and the daughter survives later and becomes a part of Balul's, like, cult of kids and, like, evil people who have died before him. He can even take the shape of them, whatever. But it's a really, really, really messed up thing, and they're all living inside the paintings and the you know movies and films and all everything. So it will continue. And Baloo is still there. Dun dun dun. But even though I have told you all about Sinister, go watch it. It is creepy. I left out a lot here. Alright? And there's more at the end that I did not mention, so trust me, I am just giving you tiny pieces of the movie here. Alright? I love y'all. It's story time. Peace out. And go watch Sinister from Blumhouse Studios from 2012. Love y'all.